Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. All right, it is Get Ready With Me Day, and I'm excited because I've got a new product to share with you from Seint that's coming really soon for Mother's Day. And then I'm thinking I'm in total spring mode over here. It's finally starting to be warm. So I've got my flowers blooming, my cat's attacking things per usual. And so I've got a little plan for a spring look. So if you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. All right, friends, let's get started. Hopefully the cat will calm down here in a minute. I don't know, he gets so excited when I sit down in this very spot. So I can hear him. He's attacking things in the background, but that's okay. You guys understand. Let's do a little springtime look. So we've got some new drops coming for Mother's Day, May 15th. I got one of them early and I wanted to show you guys how to use it. And our shade of the month is so good, guys. So if you do not know, let's see, it's April. April's shade of the month, I just got a brand new one, is Lolli. Okay, so it looks super pigmented and bright. It isn't either of those things. So I'm gonna show you guys Lolli for this look. My look is pretty much inspired by Lolli and this bad boy. And we're gonna do a really natural, glowy spring look. And when I think of spring, sorry if you're not a pink fan, but I think of pink and like lavender and like those pastel shades. So that's kind of where I'm drawing my inspiration from this morning. My shirt, of course. Y'all know I love to coordinate. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, because I'm sure you guys are dying to know. I haven't even talked about these yet. So Solstice. This is a limited edition product coming out May 15th for Mother's Day. So all of our drops are always 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you're a subscriber, I will send you all the video drops. Yeah, you'll probably be getting my newsletter with all the information about it. So this is called, did I say what it's called? Solstice. It's a tinted balm that you can pretty much put anywhere, but it's this beautiful pale pink color. Yeah, I've already dipped in, sorry. I couldn't help it. So this kind of reminds me, if you were ever using Demi and you used our balm, so it was clear, it was coconut scented, and you could use it to kind of add a little bit of glow to the skin. This is pretty much the same with a little bit of pink in it. It is coconut scented, but it's very faint. It's not strong, but I'm excited. So it is limited edition while supplies last. So if you do want it, I'd suggest getting it sooner rather than later. I'm obsessed with the Demi balms. In fact, in like my clutch that I keep in my car, I have that instead of the lip conditioner. Probably because I'm a coconut fan. I love the coconut and it's like the right size. Well, this one's great because I can like leave this one next to, well, I'm going to want to use it on my face, but you could put this next to your bed or wherever you wash your face as well. So I'm going to show you how to use it. It has the great, like that same great texture for your lips as the lip conditioner and the Demi balm. So if you like those, the color is very, I don't know if I can really see. You guys know me, I've got to swatch everything. I mean, it's so faint. I don't know, maybe on lighter skin tones, you might be able to see some color. I feel like it almost has just a little bit of pearlescence instead of actual pink. You guys will probably not be able to see it on camera. Can you see that? So it will definitely add that glow to your skin. So I keep getting the question about how to get a glowy look. If you can't tell, I'm having a good skin day. So I'm super glowy. I've been on a skincare kick again. It seems to like, wax and wane like everything else in life. And I've been very into my skincare routine, trying new products. and my skin has been very happy. So my rosacea isn't super flared today. I've got a little bit of redness because I had a breakout around my nose, but my nose is always darker. Hyperpigmentation is a beast, but for the most part, I've got the glow without even the makeup. But I want to share some tips and tricks in order to get that glowy skin-like look. And if you don't naturally have that glow to your skin, how you can fake it with our makeup, right? So, and certain colors like Lolli is going to make that so much easier because this one actually has shimmer in it. So let's go ahead and get started. Got my lips prepped. I will use this later on my face as well because you can add it anywhere you want the light to reflect. So that's a great hack for glowy skin as well. But let's go ahead and get started. I just put on my lashes this morning. I have the SB, what did I put on? SB 16s. These are my ride or dies currently. I just tried a new one last week and I came back to these. So I'm using my eyeshadow primer. Thank me later. It's linked below. Anytime you guys need to know any colors or anything I used, just look in the drop box below the video. I put everything so that way you guys don't have to rewatch it to figure it out. So prepping my eyes. I don't need to fuse my lashes. I got my lips moisturized. I've got it all planned out here, and I love these beauty pages by Cloth and Paper in my awesome planner. So I am actually prepared today. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so my goal with this is very glowy, okay? My biggest hack, which I've been sharing over on Instagram, is the bronzer trick. So I did not self-tan today. I don't feel like I'm pale, but I'm a little bit lighter on my face than the rest of me. So I am still gonna use this trick. And it's not always when I'm feeling washed out, but sometimes when I just wanna add a little bit of that glow, and it's all about this Glow Illuminator. So this one is very dry because it's been in my compact a long time. But Glow Illuminator is our one for the darkest skin tones. But look at that glow. Okay. Literally, that's where it gets its name, right? So I'm not super washed out today, so I'm going to leave out the heat waves. So I'm just going to mix the Bella Bronzer and Glow Illuminator. Okay. I'm just going to use my blush brush and swirl so I get a nice even distribution. And I'm not gonna get any like globs of color that I'm then gonna have to blend out, okay? Bronzer, always high points of the face. So wherever the sun would hit naturally first is where you wanna hit first. And then you can kind of use that color to even out if need be. So for me, my nose is the darkest point, you can probably tell. My chin's already dark too, but I have some areas that are lighter that I actually also hit with bronzer just to even out my skin a little bit. And again, I'm wanting that glowy look everywhere, but I am gonna concentrate the color where I should naturally be the darkest from the sun. Okay, so that's always forehead. Okay, I like to go around this C formation around my eye, hit the cheeks. Now in the video I just posted where I showed you guys, I think it was a reel over on Instagram, I was not even wearing blush or anything in the after picture. It was simply these three mixed together. So, and even with the highlight over it, you get the most beautiful, like natural flush from these colors. So this is one of my favorite hacks for even glowier skin. Okay, so a little bit on my chin. I'm just gonna put a touch on my nose just for a little glow. But then I'm gonna kind of just go in and put a touch just so I'm not quite so pale through there. Does that make sense? Okay, and there you go. I'm pretty good. I'm gonna brighten under my eyes, obviously, but always down the neck, and then definitely hit this area right here with that glow. Clavicle, is that what it's called? Collarbone. Okay, sometimes if I'm paler right here, I don't know why my sunless tanner sometimes just doesn't collect there. Okay, so now I've got a little bit of glow. I'm all even, right? Well, not completely even, but I look like I'm matching a little bit better now. I'm gonna go ahead and hit highlights. So that gave me a little glow. Now I need coverage. So Bella it does give a little coverage, don't get me wrong, but it is extremely sheer. Like, it's not gonna actually color correct redness or darkness. It doesn't have the same longevity as our highlights, in my opinion. So I don't recommend color correcting with Bella. I would recommend using a highlight that's kind of designed to stay where you put it. We're talking coverage. And when I have a good skin day and I want the least amount, and I really want the most natural look, glowy, showing my skin, I will always pick up the blend. I have been putting on my makeup almost daily this way, and I feel like I've been able to get away with using less and less highlight for coverage the more I play with the amounts I'm using. So when in doubt, if you're ever wanting to do a very minimal, glowy, skin-like look, never go lighter with your highlight. You always want to go darker, okay? And so for me, when I want to still get good coverage, I'm never going to go down to my main shade. I'm going to make sure the first color I'm using is that color corrector. And I'm actually going to be a little bit heavier with my color corrector, so I need very little of this main shade. I don't want to say heavy because I'm not going to be heavy at all because I'm going to use this brush. But I'm going to make sure I hit every key area that is darker on my face. And that's how I can get an amazing, glowy, natural look that stays all day. Because if I was to go down to my main shade instead, thinking, oh, I want to use less products, I'm not going to use 3 shades. That's not the case, because I'll actually have it start cracking and breaking up on the skin. It'll actually give me less coverage. But by hitting those darkest places first, by using a color corrector, you'll be able to get a more skin-like finish. I know it sounds opposite almost, or backwards, but I have discovered that it is literally key for me to get my skin to look like skin and not makeup. So I'm gonna use the small end anywhere where I need a little bit more, okay? I'm still just tapping in, okay? You can tell my nose is always super dark. I always hit my broken capillaries first, because this is a problem area for me, that if that's not fully covered with my corrector and I put my main shade anywhere close to that, it just collects and sits and shows that texture. We all naturally have a lot of texture there. Even when you're a skincare junkie like me, it's kind of one of those areas that is just normal on everyone. Okay, so I'm hitting my nose with kind of that buffing motion with this small end because it is dense. And so by buffing, I can get good coverage, fully covered with very little product, to where it almost kind of just melts into the skin. Now, granted, our creams don't let anyone tell you they do. These creams are occlusive, which means they sit on top of the skin. They don't melt in the skin. They're not supposed to. It's not the way our makeup works. It doesn't absorb into the skin like a traditional foundation will go on top of the skin. All the water will evaporate, and then it will kind of almost absorb those powders a little bit. These will always sit on top of your skin, which is why they actually look more like skin, is because they're moving with your face. I know I hear all the time people saying that they melt into the skin. I feel like it's more of a term, but it is not true. Look like they almost become skin-like. If they're actually sitting on top of the skin to where you can see it sitting in your pores, that's a different story. That means the color's too light. Color is everything with these creams. I say it time and time again. Okay, but you can tell how very little I use there. You can't even see it. My redness on that chin, my chin is gone. The darkness that I naturally had on that chin is gone. My rosacea is pretty good. I'm gonna use the fluffy end. I'm just gonna kind of gently tap That way I can kind of just buff into that entire area. Just so I have a nice light layer. It's all about thin layers. Remember, I already had that Bella down. So I want that warmth to kind of show through. And we don't want to fully cover all that glow that I just put to my skin. Okay, I want to let my skin shine through. Now, then I'm going to go back. Well, once I do it, let's do my forehead real quick. I've got a little bit of redness. Okay, and this brush gives the sheerest amount imaginable. Okay, then you can go back with this end and hit any darker points. Okay, so now I'm gonna press on where I've got that hyperpigmentation. This spot down here is getting out of control lately. Okay, and if you want to apply more anywhere you want to kind of mitigate hyperpigmentation, or if you have rosacea like me that's kind of popping out, just press on a little bit more. Now you can't see it. I'm not picking up that much product. Again, I'm just barely touching it. But there's certain points on my face that I want to make sure are covered before I go into my main shade. My main shade does not color correct. It doesn't cover hyperpigmentation. If you keep layering something so neutral, it's just gonna make that spot look dry and cakey, and it's never gonna fully cover it. Okay, anywhere you have blemishes. And now we can go into the under eye. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the brush on the top part of my under eye, of my eyelid. Again, kind of even out those blue purple tones. I like to use the brush on the inside corner because I have a lot of those tones through there as well. And then I'm gonna use my finger and I'm just gonna tap. Okay, not a whole lot of product, but I'm just gonna kind of tap to distribute and then just keep tapping so that I get that amount under my eye in a really even layer. So much coverage. This shade is amazing if used properly. And the amount for everyone varies, guys. It depends on how deep your dark points are, and you always just want to start with the smallest amount possible as you're learning this makeup. Then just know where you can go and say, oh, I have some dark spots. I can just go in just where I need more coverage and nowhere else, okay? This makeup is very unique in that way that you don't have to put it heavy everywhere. Just put it, just press on more. So thin layer, buff on, very small amount. Then you can go in and press on more anywhere you need more coverage. So I've got some good coverage going on. I've only used my brightener, okay? So what does that mean? I need to be extremely light-handed with my main shade. In fact, I'm barely gonna use any, okay? Just enough to kind of tone down the warmth. That's it. Just enough to kind of build up a little bit of coverage under my eyes. So my under eyes, so I get a touch more coverage under my eyes as well. So I'm gonna use this end again, tapping into my main shade, which is just one shade lighter and more neutral, okay? Just gonna barely tap it everywhere. Like, I wish you guys could see how very little product I'm picking up. Like, you probably can't even see it. Okay, I'm gonna tap a little bit under the eye. A little bit on the cheek area. Okay, now my nose, since it's always darker, I am going to use this end and make sure it lightens up a bit, okay? So otherwise I can usually see that my nose is still darker, and that bothers me, especially here on the sides of my nose that are, okay, but I am gonna be very careful and avoid that area and just press on more right there, okay? Put on a little bit more right there, see that? Like, I tapped very little across, but where I need more is right here. So I'm gonna put more there. Just where needed. Okay, I'm gonna even my eyelids out a little bit more, not much. Okay, key with this product is just knowing the amounts to apply. So, I've got great coverage going on, especially for using this brush that picks up so very little. But it's the magic of that color corrector. It is incredible. Okay, so now I feel like I don't need any bronzer. I mean, if I was really going for the day, I would probably just perfect my face and add some blush and I'd probably be good to go. But let's go ahead and contour. You don't have to contour every day. I tend to. If I'm going to put on makeup, I tend to. But some days are just bronzer only days, you know? Gonna pick up that detail and I'm gonna barely tap in because this is a new contour. It's very creamy because I used my finger to get off that top layer, remember? From, was that last week? Okay, we're gonna touch up here by the ear and I'm gonna be very light-handed in case I picked up too much again. Cupping that cheekbone, stopping about the corner of the eye. And now I'm gonna start just pressing upwards to distribute and blend up. You can flick. Trying to move as little as possible anything underneath. So I still have good coverage. It's not gonna pull me too warm. I've already kind of given a touch of that color corrector so that my contour isn't gonna pull too warm once if let's just say, if my rosacea starts flaring up. Since rosacea fluctuates, that's something that can always happen. So that's why I always color correct in that area. Okay, same thing, other side. I can tell I got more here. So I'm just gonna kind of wipe off the excess. Okay, forehead. Okay, I'm using Astoria here. If you want a very bronzy look, which I feel like can also be a very popular look as we're getting closer and closer to summer, try indigo if you have darker skin. It is so pretty and bronzy. Okay, I feel like I've got a lot of contour there. That's what happens when I get a new cream. Okay, so blend it out. We want a nice fade framing the face. We don't want to be able to see any lines there. Okay, under the jawline. Okay, and go up a little and get rid of jowls if needed. Okay. Blend down. Okay, let's do a quick nose contour. Just gonna tap in with my finger. Okay, rub my fingers together. Okay, and then try to, if you have a bump on your nose like I do, to me, this is the easiest way to go around it. I don't know how else to say it. So if you follow your natural nose line and you have a bump, then it will almost show more, okay? But if you are like me, then you can kind of go closer together where that bump is, so the lines appear straight even if they aren't. Okay, so it does just take a little bit of practice, like anything, but then you'll be able to get those kind of straight lines and kind of at least trick the eye for that, your bump there. Okay, a little down the lip, whatever was left on my fingers. I'm debating if I really need much brightener. Uh-oh, the animals are attacking. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do the smallest amount of brightener because I feel like lately when I use the bronzer trick, I tend to not, obviously you saw, I didn't put anything under my eyes, right? And yet I kind of had a little bit of warmth added everywhere else. So I feel like I naturally get that lighter look without having to add a whole lot. Like it takes the smallest amount. And again, if we're trying to get a more skin-like finish and you're wanting a very natural, glowy look, I recommend being very light-handed with your brightener because that is the one shade that can emphasize texture. And with that light of a shade, normally over application is the issue. If you apply too much of that shade, that's when it affects the texture around your eyes and that kind of thing. So you just want to barely use any. Okay, and since I nose contoured, I'm gonna put a little bit on this side of my nose and then right there. Again, I'm just pressing, I'm not pulling at all. If you're naturally darker within here, then you can kind of pull that up. I sometimes will just add it where I have hyperpigmentation to give me a little bit more coverage. Sometimes that's right here where I have shadows. It can help mitigate that. And it can help clean up your eyeshadow once you put on your eyes. So I did do a little nose contour. So we're gonna go straight down the center. Just gonna take the residual up. This is, again, another problem area that's really easy to see texture. I want skin-like, so I do not want to be able to see that added texture. Okay, Cupid's bow, center of the chin, blend it out. Okay, now it's time for this bad boy. All right, let's go ahead. I prepped this before I even sat down, so it is nice and cool, no longer damp. And with a skin-like finish, you really want to press this everywhere, okay? We're gonna get off any excess so we can get that nice glowy look. Okay. So now that we're done perfecting, even if you want this most skin-like finish, if you have areas that you still want more coverage on, sometimes this can pull off touch too much, and that's okay. For the most part though, it'll make your skin look like skin, right? It'll make you look less makeup-y, and then you can go back in and add more only where needed. So I tend to do this anywhere I have dark spots. Okay, so just hit it. Then I'm gonna just tap into my mane and just barely cover. And so it's not gonna give me this full coverage look along my jawline, but it's just gonna give me coverage where needed. So again, that's something I do with blemishes. Blemishes are notorious for not wanting to be covered easily and for product to just get pulled right off of, because that damaged skin is just smoother and sometimes healing and all of those things. So I tend to always go back and add more where I have those blemish spots. So once we've hit those either dark spots or blemishes, or even if your under eyes took off too much coverage, guys, it's all about thin layers and kind of adjusting. And when it's the way you like it, then we set it, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my powder brush. My under eyes are my problem area, so I'm gonna barely touch it and then barely tap that setting powder right where needed, so that way I don't get any creasing. And we'll kind of blur some of those fine lines as well. And then since I never set my above my eyes, my eyelids, why do I keep saying above my eyes? My eyelids, again, I'm gonna also go in with powder. This time you can be a little bit more generous. And I'm just gonna make sure I've got that nice powdered base for eyeshadow. Okay, then I tend to not powder the rest of my face when you're wanting a super glowy look. Now, if you have any like deep creases or oily skin that you either have issues with it collecting in, or you just are shiny through the day, I'd recommend at least putting some kind of powder so that it will absorb those oils as they're produced during the day. You can then leave those areas you don't need powder really glowy and dewy. All right, guys, my favorite part, let's do some blush. Okay, so I showed you guys Lolli earlier. I know it looks super scary and super bright. I'm telling you guys, and it actually looks almost kind of like a warm, on the warm side, but it's actually not. So this is actually always in my compact. I love this shade, I always have. So if you look at it really closely, you can probably see that shimmer. Do you see that iridescence? Okay, it is actually a very sheer shade. Look at that. Okay, but it has, oh man, my lights are not gonna do it justice. It has almost a purple, maybe if I put it on heavier, you guys can see. Purple iridescent shimmer in it, right? So if you guys remember our warm and cool lesson a few weeks back, Lolli is pink, right? Pink is warm, but that purple undertone, purple is what? Do you guys remember? Purple's cool on this side. So it is actually a cool pink, okay? So we've got our warmth from our glow, and we're gonna balance it with that cool undertone of our Lolli on our cheeks. I love this shade. Now, if you are not a sheer girl or not a glossy girl, or you have issues with longevity of your lip and cheek, mainly the blush, then I would recommend putting something more pigmented down, like one of our matte shades first. So from our mattes, I'd say Madrid is a nice warm pink you could put underneath it. Let's see what it would look like. So you can get that warm pink, but then you can cool it down a touch. So if Madrid pulls too warm for you, Lolli would be a great topper shade to add a little bit of that glow and to cool it down. So if you want to keep it as cool as possible, I would probably actually recommend Dahlia of all of them, just for pigmentation, and it's more of a cool pink. And then baby watermelon and pink grapefruit. I think baby watermelon is probably the coolest, and then pink grapefruit is a touch warmer. Again, they're both very similar, but either one of those would be a nice base that you could then just use that for pigmentation to get to the depth of color you want. And then you could go in with that Lolli as a topper to add that glow and that sheen to the skin. So you could still get that dewy look that you want, but more pigmentation. So if you're wanting a brighter, I feel like all of these would be really pretty for spring, right? So I'm gonna show you what it looks like all on its own, because I already have some warmth underneath from that Bella and that glow, but I love the sheerness of this blush because I feel like it really showcases the glow of it and the iridescent. And you can totally build this color up too. It's not like it's so sheer you can't see it, right? Like you can see it, right? But the glow is just so pretty. I'm obsessed. Okay, I feel like I got too high over here. I was going a little happy with my Lolli, but it's so pretty, okay? I feel like they did good in picking this for an April shade because it definitely screams spring. That beautiful sheer pink glow. Oh, I love it. It's such a good shade. So while supplies last or through the end of April, it is a limited edition shade. Okay, let's go ahead and try some of this Solstice also as illuminator. Now I feel like I've got a lot of glow going on just with the shimmers I've put on so far, but we're just gonna tap this up on the cheekbones. I feel like this is gonna give a really natural, oh my gosh, that's actually, I can see it more in person than I can on camera because it's not a shimmery glow. It's just it's more of that wet looking. And I know so many people are like, I want a wet looking highlight, but I don't want to use a powder illuminator. And I get that because the powders on me, they will age me a little bit. But this, it gives that wet look, but without the shimmer, which I really like because I like a very natural looking illuminator. So that's super pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and, I know I haven't done my brows yet, but they say you can put it under your brows. Okay, which you guys, I'll probably brighten there as well. Or you can just add it anywhere you would normally add glow. If you like, end of your nose, wherever. I'm just gonna utilize it. It's a very faint smell, but it still smells good. So cool. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more on my lips actually because I talk so much that it comes off too quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and give a quick set to my full face. Now, if you like the most glowy, dewy look you can get, you wanna use a setting spray that's gonna give you a dewy look. So if you are more oily, or you like a more matte finish, I wouldn't recommend this one. This one actually is best for drier skin and will only give a dewy look. So you can either use this after you apply all your creams, then you go in with your powder, whether if you're oily, I would recommend something more like a loose powder, like Laura Mercier, where you need it. Or if you just want to kind of knock down the shine a little, you can use that vanilla dust or use vanilla dust to touch up during the day. But on the daily, I just press on a little bit of powder around my eyes, and then I go in with my full face to get that dewy glow. Generous with it. Okay, while that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my brows. If I can find my eyeshadows, because they're different compact, but I use Trust eyeshadow and the line brush. Brows are done. I feel like a new person every time I do my brows. So I don't know what exactly I'm doing with my eyes yet. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of Lolli on my lips so you guys can see. Let's do a really sheer lip look. I've already got some of the balm down. I'm gonna very lightly line with Astoria, which was my contour. Okay, and I want to show you guys what Lolli looks like, more sheer, and then sometimes I'll go back and once I do my lips, or once I do my eyes, I can see if I need more on my lips. Like if I do too much on my eyes and do more dramatic, I like keeping my lips a little bit more subtle, especially with a really natural look on the face. Can you see that glow? It's just like my lips, but better. It's a really natural pink. I'll be honest, I am not a big fan of cool tones on my lips usually. This is about the only one. I mean, come on. They're mostly all warm. Summer Love and Lolli are my only two cool shades I keep in my compact on the daily. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, Mother's Day, there's more stuff coming too. So look at it on Instagram. We've got new microfiber rounds, which are awesome. I've been wanting us to get some of those forever for washing your face. And then new compact designs, which I did not get. I'll be honest. I don't know if you can see it past the flowers. I have a lot of compacts. I'm still obsessed with this one. So I didn't want to switch out. So that's why I am going to stick with my poolside for a little bit. But you guys know we always have beautiful compacts. So stay tuned for those. All right, let's do some eyeshadow. Okay, so I had some ideas, but I feel like I can't go super bold. Honestly, if this was like normal every day, I don't know if I'd even put on eyeshadow. I feel like I'm obsessed with this pink flush glowy with no eyeshadow. Personal preference thing, I guess, but I love it. So for me, I probably would just take something like Chai. And Chai is my magic eraser shade. It's almost the color of my eyelid. And I would just kind of even out my eyelid, carve out my crease a touch, and then I'd use a little bit under my eye because it's just a shade darker. And I'd probably go on with my day, maybe a little drift or something to brighten. But alas, this is a get ready with me. I can't just do a super natural eye look. I gotta show you guys some fun shades. So these were the shades that I thought of first when I thought of spring. So I wanted to show you some options and then we'll do an eye look. Right? Are these not pretty? Okay, you guys might be thinking, why is that shade in there? But hold tight. So this is Soulmate and Sis. Okay, very similar. Okay, wait, which one was which? Okay, Soulmate is a little bit brighter. I sometimes use that as a brightener, even though on camera, it actually just looks a touch warmer than Sis. But Sis is definitely cooler. They're both so pretty and so similar, and definitely that like bright highlight pink shimmer. They're so fun. Okay, now we have, oh my gosh, why can I never remember this one? Venus. And then Gigi, which I don't think I've worn in a really long time. Okay, so these are those are the pinks. These are more of the purple spectrum, that lavender, really light. Venus can definitely be a brightener. It's like a 1, 2. And then Gigi's probably more in the 3 range for those kind of like purple. These are cool. Those last two are pinks, which technically warm, but can definitely pull more cool or warm depending on their tone. But these are more purple, gray undertone. You can tell those are more cool. And then I've got my favorite, probably pink of all time, Tawanda. This is the one that's like a rose gold. Look at that shimmer. Oh, it's so pretty. And since you guys see me use it 100 freaking times, I won't use it, but that was my first thought. But I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And then As You Wish, which this one looks, is the one that looks cream, and it even, let's see if I can swatch it. This is the one that has that purple iridescent shimmer. Okay, so this one is the chameleon shade that you can totally like put down any color you want. pop that over it, and it's gonna almost give you that lavender shimmer. So that one's really fun for spring. I don't know why, I just like think of it as a spring shade. I don't know why I think of lavender and light pink. So those are kind of my inspiration shades. So let's see what we're gonna come up with. I'm thinking we're gonna pick something a little bit more, let's try a balanced look. We're gonna use some pink, some purple, and some warm neutrals and see what we come up with. All right, believe it or not, I'm gonna start with Butterscotch, okay? So this is definitely more towards the warm neutral, and I'm gonna use this in my crease. Since most of those shades I picked out were cool, most of those pastels are very cool, this is gonna add that warmth. Okay, if this shade scares you, I would say go down to Bubba, which is less warm and lighter, or Sedona, which is about the same depth, but is more neutral than warm. Like this one technically is more of a warm neutral, but it's not nearly as warm as Butterscotch. But it's so pretty. I love this shade. Goes on like butter. Love it. Okay, flip your brush around and use that under the eye as well. That is called a halo. A little bit of definition, makes your eyes look bigger. Helps set that area even right underneath your lashes so that your mascara doesn't transfer. I swear it just makes my under eyes look slightly younger, so that's why I will never stop doing it. Okay, now we're gonna go into some shimmer shades. Let's see. Oh, I keep debating on which ones to use. I'm gonna go in with the smudge brush, and I'm gonna pick up Gigi. And I'm gonna press it on mostly the outer half of my lid. Now, Gigi and Bend and Snap are really similar. I feel like Gigi is a little lighter and more purple, less mauve, if that makes sense. Okay, that is such a pretty color next to Butterscotch. That's super pretty. Okay, anyway, same thing, but I'm gonna use, let's do Sis on the first half of the lid. And I might need my finger so I get more shimmer. See that brightness? Now, Sis and Gigi aren't super different. I mean, this is obviously darker and this is obviously lighter, but those pinks and purples, when they're both cool like that, can be very similar in the same color family. So it doesn't look like I've got pink and purple on my eye, and they'll almost blend into each other like an ombre, okay, which is what I'm going for. Okay, so you can grab your eyeshadow brush, kind of get off the excess, and you can kind of just blend them together. So it should be lighter, go to darker. Okay, so for me, I feel like it looks good, but a little disconnect right here. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of more of a shadow shade, I call it, into the outer corner, just so I get a nice transition from that cool into warm. So I'm gonna go with Oak. It's kind of my old standby. It's very much just a shadow shade, right? It is like a natural shadow. It's cool, dark. You can use it very lightly or darker, depending on what you need it for. So I'm just gonna use the other side of the smudge brush and gently tap right into that crease so that where those shimmers go into the mattes, they kind of have a little bit more of like an ombre, and then it kind of just stops and it looks kind of like disconnected. Do you see that? I'm gonna kind of just help that crease stay matte for one, so that those shimmers don't age me right there, and add a little bit more depth with a cool shade. So again, just like every other time, we're gonna kind of balance cool, warm. Sometimes if your warms aren't looking blended, when they hit that cool, you just need another color to kind of help them. And Oak is my cool shade I always seem to pick. If I need something cool, I usually grab Oak. If I need something warm, I pick Bubba or Sedona. They're pretty much my universal helper shades. Okay, get off excess, and we're gonna blend those two. Now, if you apply that and you're like, okay, I just lost my warmth, go back in to Butterscotch and just add a touch so that you can still see that warmth, because you really want to make sure you have that balance, mostly cool touch of that warmth. Okay, since I went a little crazy on this side, pick up your highlight brush. Okay, and there you go. So with this look, I feel like I need a little bit of eyeliner, but I don't want to do like a thick black line and turn this into a nighttime look. I really want to keep it a little bit lighter. So I am gonna pick up my liquid eyeliner so that I can get the thinnest line possible, just enough to make my lash line look connected, if that makes sense. I'll show you. Okay, see how very little that is? Just a touch. The thinnest possible line I can get along the base of my lashes. Okay, so I got a little bit of depth there. Already looks 10 times better, but I want to use a shadow as my eyeliner. So I'm gonna pick up one of my old favorites, Revival. So that way it's not black, it's not pastel, it's still gonna give me depth, but it's gonna be a nice fun like plum that I feel like will tie in really well with these other colors. So I'm just gonna use my line brush, and I'm just going to, actually no, I lied. I'm going to use my multitasker so it keeps it really soft. And I'm just gonna kind of dip in the edge of the brush and run it along that line, because we already got some depth. I'm just gonna add some color, a little bit of softness. So it'll look like it doesn't look like I had, well, it looks so different on camera. Up close, hopefully you'll be able to see. It doesn't look like a, you know, a thick liner. Just a little bit of color. In person, at least. Smallest amount on that outer corner. Then I'm gonna go back in to Butterscotch just to make sure it's nice and blended out along the lower lash line. I was gonna do super subtle, and then of course I don't, but it's okay. It's still a fun eye look. Okay, so day or night, this would totally work. Let's do something fun and brighten with a illuminator. So I don't know, I feel like Lolli and its iridescence just has me wanting to use all the iridescent things. So we didn't use As You Wish on the eyes, but that would totally give you more of a pop of that lavender if you want. Let's use Starlet. So do you guys ever use Starlet? It looks straight up white. It is a powder illuminator, but it is, let's see if you can see it. See, both of these have that purple iridescence. I call them unicorn vibes. This one totally has unicorn vibes, which my daughter loves, but I don't wear it very much. I forget about it. So I'm gonna use this in the inside corners just to give a little bit of that pinky purple shimmer to kind of tie in. Now, I didn't use anything under my brows except for that Solstice tinted balm, and I like it. I don't think I need this. So I'm just gonna use it sparingly. And I was right, since I used a little bit more on my eyes than I had originally anticipated, I don't feel like I need too much on my lips, but I don't feel like my lips are lined very well or defined. So we're gonna try to do that again. Or maybe I was just talking too much again. When I look at the time, it looks like that's the answer. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit of Summer Love, which is cool. A little nude. And then now I'm gonna top it with Lolli. Use a little bit heavier this time. So you can see the color. It just gives the most beautiful sheen to everything. I love that color. Okay, friends, there you go. I went ahead and swatched all the colors we used on our eyes. So Butterscotch, Gigi, Sis, we brightened with, gosh, you still cannot see it on camera. That's Starlet, let's see, a little bit of Oak, and then lined with Revival. I'm loving the Summer Love and Lolli combo. Such a great shade. So bring on spring. I am totally ready for warmer temps. I hope that was helpful in getting you a nice glowy look with your makeup. I will say there's a few other things that can help you get glowy skin. For one is just skincare. I feel like I could do an entire another video on just how to get your skin to glow. If you want to see something like that, let me know in the comments. Number two, my favorite glowy sunscreen is Glow Screen. This is my ride or die. It is amazing under Seint makeup, and if you like a glowy, dewy look, you're gonna love this sunscreen. And then three was using a little bit of glow, and then of course, topping it with anything that's gonna add a little extra glow. So illuminators, the powders or the creams or something like this new Solstice tinted balm. Anywhere you add a touch of shimmer or a touch of this kind of dewy cream is gonna give you that light and will kind of catch the light and will give you more of that glow that you want. And this makeup alone will already add glow. As long as you don't load on a ton of powder, your skin will have that natural dewy look from the creams of our makeup. It is incredible. One of my favorite things about this makeup was the fact that it gave me that glow to my skin and made me look 10 years younger in the process. If you have any questions over this video, drop them in the comments below. If you're needing a color match for 3D foundation from Seint, I'd be happy to help you. My color match request is linked always in the Dropbox below the video. You can just fill that out. Tell me how you like to wear your makeup, and I will send you all of your custom color match choices. As always, thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you next week. Love you.